Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Two Bestfriends Podcast.
Happy Friday. We made it through another week.
We are so excited to chat with you guys today. We're going to be talking all things comparison, confidence, insecurities. I don't know, kind of like a whole conversation of just how we feel in these situations, how we kind of approach it, what we struggle with, and kind of help you guys through it while also helping each other through it, I guess.
Yeah. I think it'll be really good to just, because we haven't really talked about this before, but it's something Jana and I always talk about.
Yeah.
And I feel like just as you get older, you're around more people. And obviously as you get older, things start to change, physically, mentally, all the things. And
even just normal career-wise, life-wise, especially now after college, I think there's a whole other side of comparison now. Yeah. So I think we can definitely chat on that side of it too, but also the physical aspect of it too is a big part that we always chat about. So I think we'll just share our takes on it and how we go through it, how we talk about it, and I don't know, share some of our advice on it as well. So that's what the topic of today's episode is. But before we jump into all of that fun stuff, we're just going to talk about just catch up from this week and share some peaks. I don't have any pits. I don't know if you do.
We're on week number 2 of no pits.
Yeah, we're both doing so good.
That's insane.
What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, we deserve it after that 1 week. That was a few weeks ago because we were both
because August. Was that just August, right?
Yeah, that was the last week of August, I think.
Yeah.
Really, things have taken a turn for the better.
It's because the better months are ahead. I think we're only going to have peaks. Yeah. So my peak for this past week was the Bears won. We got the W.
I did watch that, actually.
Did you?
I did.
It was a really, really horrible game, actually, but we still won, so I gotta be. Did you see NIU won too?
Yes, they beat Notre Dame. Kevin was probably so upset.
He was so mad. You have no idea.
I can imagine.
Though, they literally paid them to play. So nuts. So great week of football for
Illinois. Happy about that?
No. I mean, I don't really like college football, so I didn't really care. Okay. I don't really know anything about NIU or whatever, but also Illinois State won too.
Let's go.
Go Birds. So there's just so many wins for Illinois, and so we love that.
We love to hear it.
And then, do I have another peak? I thought I did. Oh, this is a fun one. I have found my new favorite reality TV show. It's up there with Selling Sunset, and that says a lot, and you have to watch it. It's called Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh, you just told me about this.
Dude, I finished it.
Yeah.
Season 1, there should be a season 2 coming out. You have to watch it.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but it's so good. The drama, just it's out of nowhere too, because obviously in Utah, they're Mormons, but not Mormons. I don't know. It's so interesting and so funny. And it's also just a really good, girly girlhood, sisterhood kind of show. So I highly recommend.
I've been seeing that around, and I've seen a lot of I don't know if it's TikToks or
promos of it, and all the girls.
Just watching that one Vile File.
Yeah, the Taylor Frankie Paul girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's the head of it. Yeah, you should. It's really good.
It's just so different than
it is.
Yeah, just new. I don't know, because I get sick of the same thing all the time, so this is so different.
It's so different.
Be, very interesting to watch.
That's why I really liked it. But the Selling Sunset is number 1, and we both finished that, and that was great. So
unfortunately, we already debriefed Selling Sunset, but
so good. Just watch it. Go and watch it if you guys haven't.
I just want to live a day in the life, one day in the life of any of them.
I know.
I don't even care who it is. I just want to
be them.
Please. I'll be Jason. I don't want to care.
I'll be Brett.
Don't. Yes.
God, I hate Brett, but I could be Brett.
If that's what it takes, I'm okay with it. But
yeah, so those are my peaks.
I think I only have, what is my peak for the week? Honestly, I don't know. I tried a brow gel this week and I loved it.
Ooh.
I was where have I been?
That's fun. Are you wearing it around?
Yeah.
I like it.
I got it as my free birthday gift for Sephora. I was might as well try it because I've been thinking about it. I was I kind of want to try one, kind of don't want to try one. Because everyone's so nitpicky on the little
I just started coloring my eyebrows now.
Really?
Yeah, I do very light brown.
Yeah.
Just a little, on the top here.
Just a little.
Because sometimes too much, I'm oh my God, but a little, you need a little something.
Just to fill it in a little. Yeah. That's what I've been filling in my brows, but very lightly. And then I was I want to try a brow gel. And I really like it.
Yeah.
It's from Kosas.
Nice. Ooh, yeah, fun. I need to get some new makeup.
I know, me too.
I'm trying not to shop, but I have the
itching.
Mm-hmm. I want to, but I'm I can't.
She's got the shopping gene.
I know, it's sad, but I'm trying not to. I've been good. I've had control.
That's good.
But nah, for much longer.
Not for much longer, she says. She's going to have her car payment.
Oh my God, I'm going to die in like a month, guys. I can't. But Kylie's birthday's coming up, so like, I gotta save some money for her.
My girlfriend.
Gotta spoil her.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
I know.
Like, what the?
Is that your only peak?
I texted guys, so funny. Like, this is hilarious, actually. I just need to say this really quick.
Oh, what? I don't even know what she's gonna say.
I texted Gina like last week. I was like, oh my gosh, I just bought your Christmas present.
Oh my
And
God.
she was like, what is it?
I think I know what it is too.
No, you don't. Tell me off camera.
I will, but I think I have an idea.
Like, I cannot with her because it's so annoying with this stuff. Like, I'll either tell her and
I
then
thought
she
about it
figures
yesterday. I was like, wait.
Why are you thinking about it?
Because you shouldn't tell me these things. I'm gonna snoop. Like, it's just
How could you possibly snoop about
well,
it?
not snoop, but like brainstorm. Be like, oh, what could take so long to? I'm a mastermind like that. She's like, it won't be here till Christmas. I'm like, what?
No, it's not going to not be here till Christmas.
Yeah, whatever. She's back.
I have some of it. I actually do have some of it.
Okay.
Like, currently right now. And if it came, like, it's so annoying.
It's fine. I'll stop asking questions now.
Can you just, like, not buy anything?
I'm not.
Christmas?
Well, I'm trying not to, so I might not.
You actually, I always, she'll either buy the same gift for herself, which is...
I do this with everyone in my family. They get me Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, and I'm like, oh, I kind of just bought that last week. And then I'm like, sorry. And I have like doubles of everything. Because I'm like, if I want it, I'm going to get it right now. Sorry. I can't wait.
She takes the fun away.
I know I do.
She does.
The worst.
Like, she is, actually. She is the worst.
The worst. When it comes to shopping for me, yes, quite literally the worst person. So, sorry.
Okay, well, at Christmas time, you can tell me if you were right or wrong.
Okay. Now I'm thinking I'm wrong, but it's fine. I'll keep brainstorming.
Good. I hope she's wrong. Anyways, I just had to say that because you said birthday and I made me laugh. So I was like, God, like, nobody else. And if I tell them, like, oh, I got your Christmas gift, like, oh, like, awesome, I can't wait. Like, not give me it now. Like, I'm brainstorming. What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Like, she is just, like, the worst with it. So just forget that I said anything. Just, like, turn her...
She did it to herself. She knew better, but it's okay.
Well, because I was excited.
No, I know. I do the same thing with everyone. I just can't keep a secret, so I tell everyone their gifts, too.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I just want to tell you because I was so excited. Like, I bought it, and I was like, holy crap, Gina's going to love this so much. Like, I was just like, this is so her.
Yeah.
And I had to tell her. And then she started to get nosy, and I was like, God, can we not? So we're just going to erase it from memory.
Yeah,
I didn't say anything to you. Stop thinking about it. Please put your energy into more important things.
Please do something else with your time.
Please do something. Occupy your mind
Oh my
differently,
gosh,
please.
I can't. It's consuming me.
Please don't let it.
I will stop. Just for you.
If I tell you I have your birthday gift, can you think about that?
Sure. God, she's doing so good, guys. God damn it. I need to get it together.
I'm just an early bird on everything.
I know. Okay.
But
what do you want for your birthday? Just kidding. Next topic.
Okay. Can I change the topic?
No. Okay.
I don't even know how to get into this conversation because it's such a heavy, sort of like loaded conversation, I feel like.
I know. I don't really know how to tackle it, but basically we just want to, I don't know, like share how we feel when it comes to comparison. I guess I can start with like my own take because I mean, just from over the years, from like 18 to like now almost 24, your body changes a lot as a woman. And that's something really hard to accept and like just grasp that concept, like understand, okay, like this is my womanly body now and I have to like accept it, even if it's not like what I want it to look like. And with that comes like comparing it to your old self. And that's something I struggle with a lot is going through like old photos. And it's like, honestly, when I get in that habit, I try so hard not to because I'll go down the rabbit hole of being like, oh my God, look at how I looked a year ago. Look at how I looked 2 years ago. And then I also stop myself and I'm like, okay, but when I was that way or that size that year, I was also wanting to look the size prior or the year prior how I looked. It's like this ongoing thing. And that's just, you're never going to win that battle. So over the years, I have always been very good at like, once I get in those moods or get in those feelings, like stopping and being like, okay, you literally thought that like a year ago and here you are still thinking the same thing. Like there's no need to continue to compare because where you were then is not where you are today. And that's okay. Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like that you always have to have that internal conversation with yourself. And this is what I tell like my clients more so is like when you get in those those times where you're like constantly comparing yourself to your old self or someone else who might look like something you want to look like, just understanding you are where you're supposed to be. Like the body you're in is like what you're meant to have for this point of time. And like it's just as good as when you were smaller. Or like you can go down the rabbit hole being like, okay, like this is like my healthier body. Maybe it's not my smallest, but like I think having those internal conversations right in that moment when you are comparing photos is so important. And that's what I do to really help me like get out of that like rabbit hole of comparing. So that's like what I do and what helps me, but like it's a constant work in progress.
Yeah.
Always.
I think it's like really good that you have the ability to do that because I don't think a lot of people have that. And it's like it takes a lot of like practice and also like just like it's good that you like have the line of work that you have because you're always exposed to it. So it's like good practice without it being like practice, if it makes sense. Like when you tell your clients that, you're also telling yourself that.
Exactly.
And it's really good to just remind yourself all the time because I think like, I mean, we're not going to get into how toxic like social media is, but like that doesn't help at all. And like, obviously it's been a very long time that you've been like active and like working out or something like that. So it's like you have like, what, 7 years?
Yeah. But I think it also too, like with the job that I do have makes it so much harder because I mean, even you too, like being personal trainers, you know, like you have to look a certain way. It does come with the job. So I think that also plays a huge role in like how I feel about myself or how I compare myself to other trainers, other people online. So I think I am proud that I'm good at like stopping when I get to that point and just like talking through it and be like, okay, like it's literally fine. I tell this to my clients, when you get in the moment of talking bad about yourself or looking in the mirror and just beating yourself up inch by inch, just stop and say like 3 things that you love about yourself that have nothing to do with your physical being. Like, I am such a good fucking person. Like inside, I have a good heart. I care. I do things for people that I love. You know, those are things that I tell myself in those moments. And it truly does get me out of it. Because I'm like, okay, there's always so much more to me than this like body image. So like, that's like my biggest tip to everyone. But like you said, it's so hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's so much easier said than done, but practicing it, and it's always a work in progress. Like I still do this to this day, and I've been telling people and teaching this and doing it for years, and I'm still constantly doing it.
Yeah. I think like something that helps me when I get into those like spirals is like literally just like stopping and looking at myself in the mirror and being like, Kylie, like you have a healthy functioning body,
right?
Like your body does all the things that it needs to do.
Exactly.
Your body gets you through every single day that you've lived so far. You're able to get up in the morning. You do the things that you love to do. You are still the same person. But more importantly, just like your body's functioning the way that it was created to function. And that's like the most important thing. And it's not about what it looks like. It's about how it feels. And if you feel amazing, like that's why like I truly hate like, and that's the really toxic thing with like training is like, I think everyone's so important, like, are focused on like numbers. Like, oh, once I hit like 140 pounds or like whatever it is, like whatever the number is, people always have a target in their head of like what they're going for. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's good to work towards something, but it's really important to like fall in love with the process of getting there and not just like so focused on like the end all be all of it. And like that's the really great part about the good and bad part about training is because people get into those like really bad like spirals of like, oh, like I didn't hit my weight goal or oh, I have this % body fat or whatever. And it's like, hold on, like is your body like doing all the things it needs to do for you? Are you alive and breathing? And if the answer is yes, like just pause and just be grateful. And I know it's hard in those moments because social media and our society these days is so caught on like physical appearance. It's like really hard because like you're content with your body also doesn't mean you are perfect either.
No, you can still have struggles. Like everyone has struggles, no matter like I'm telling you, the people that you look at that you're comparing yourself to are also struggling.
Right.
And that's another thing I tell myself in those moments too. I'm like, okay, they also like I might love their body, but they might hate it.
Yeah.
We're all going through this. And I just bouncing off of like the training thing and just like your body type, even if you get to your goal weight, that's why what Kylie said, like trusting the process, loving the process. Like even when you get your goal body weight, sometimes you're still not happy.
Most of the time though,
I have talked about this so much on my social media because I've seen women go through weight loss journeys on social media or within my own clients, and they finally reach that goal. They're down to that number they wanted to be, and they are still miserable. And that is why it's so important to just love the process and love your body type throughout every single phase, because if you don't, like, it doesn't matter.
No.
None of that work that you put in is going to matter.
And you're just never going to be happy.
No.
Like, it's like life. When people are like, oh, once I make this amount of money, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Once you get to that amount, you're going to want more. Like,
exactly.
It's just how life works. So, like, if you don't enjoy, like, getting up and actually moving your body or whatever your goal is, it doesn't have to be. It could be financially, it could be your career, it could be physically, it could literally be anything. But if you don't enjoy, like, getting yourself to that point, you're never going to be content with what you have.
Right.
And then you're going to look back on your life and be like, empty. Like, and I'm guilty of doing that too. It's like always the next thing, the next thing, next thing. Like, my brain works like 4 events before, like, after, like, what I'm actually trying to go for. I'm just a very future thinker. So for me, it's like I have to do that a lot. Is like sit down and be like, okay, like, where are you now? Like, be in the present, focus on getting to where you want to go now, and not like thinking about like multiple months or years in advance, because all of a sudden that time's going to go by and you're going to be like, wait, what? Like, you're never going to be happy with what you have. And that's a really horrible life to live, in my opinion.
It is. Like, so many people fall through that pattern where they're constantly looking for more, seeking more, and not happy with where they're at ever. And it just goes hand in hand. Career, body type wise, like, it's just, there's no point to make yourself miserable and constantly like overthink everything when, I mean, I know, you know, it's hard not to. Like, it's just the life we live in. Everything's fast paced. Everyone is putting everything online, and social media is a curated look at people's life, which is fine. We all do it. I do it. I want my best photo on Instagram. I post my posed photo on Instagram. I post my big achievements on Instagram because you want to be looked at like you have it together, you look good. Like, that's just part of it. But I think people fall into like that cycle of always constantly comparing their life and their body to other people, when if you just stop and take a moment to look at your life and like look within, I think helps so much to get out of that cycle. Because I mean, gosh, I mean, it's endless, honestly, to keep going through that. So it's so important to just be present. And I think that's what we keep talking about, like in all these episodes, is like being present. But that's what helps me too when it comes to like career wise. I guess we can transition like off of like body image and like body confidence to more like life and career. Like, I used to always want to strive for like the most money and doing the most things, having the most streams of income, which like are all so important. But when you're constantly stressing about them, you start lacking like the effort in the things that you're doing right now, which like is not good.
Yeah.
Like, I found like when I was so like a couple years ago when I was running one of my other online coaching businesses, I was so in it for the money and the growth and all of this, but I was not putting effort into like my relationships, my family, me. And then that's when your life isn't like what you want it to be, because you're so focused what your life could be. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's it's so hard to get out of that. And you have to really do like a deep look into what you're currently doing. And
I think it's like all about like discovering like your morals and values. That's why it's like very important to reassess your goals like all the time. Because me and you, we talk about this a lot, like specifically with relationships, but it could be just you and yourself too. Like reassess what you want, because what you want out of life changes a lot, whether you realize it or not. Like, I've talked to you about things before, like growing out of things. Like, what I wanted at 18 is not what I want at 24.
Yeah.
What I want at 24 is not going to be what I want at 27. Like, things change all the time. So it's really important to sit down with yourself and be real and be like, are the things that I'm doing right now getting me to the place that I want to go in life?
But think about it. Like, when you think about like when you were 18 stressing about whatever you were stressing about at 18, and you're like, holy cow.
I know.
Like, I wish I could have tell her.
Yeah. And like also too, like, I mean, not to get into like relationships and stuff, but like that's another important thing. Like when you're talking about comparing, it's like a lot of people have a tendency to compare their relationships, and a lot of the times it's not intentional. But like we were just talking about this before we got on today, of like a lot of times, like I feel like comparing is subconscious. Like you don't actively seek comparison in other people. Like it's not like I find joy out of comparing myself to the next person, but it's like it happens because as human beings, we're very judgmental and we have a tendency to do that. And so like a lot of times, like in relationships, I feel like I've seen a lot, like whether it was like something, an experience that I had or like people I know, like you compare yourself and it's like what you are like. And for me, just I'll throw myself out there, like what I had like expectations of at 18 years old or 19 years old, like looking back on it, I'm like, that's crazy.
I know.
You know what I mean? And not in a bad way. It's just you outgrow yourself. You outgrow people, and that's okay. But that's why it's important to sit down with yourself and be so real and like really be like, okay, this is where I want to go by the end of the year. Like create a vision board.
Yeah.
Have like honest conversations with yourself. Like, is your job getting you to where you want to be financially or like introspectively or like relationships and like stuff like that? It's like, just have those periodic check-ins with yourself because life is too short. I say this all the time, but truly life is too short to be doing things you don't enjoy doing. And I had to learn that the hard way through some of my experiences I've gone through, where I've taken like a little too long to pull myself out of things that are not serving me. Like,
that's why I think it's so important to literally take a step back and be like, what do I actually like? I don't know, because what you liked a couple years ago, it's not going to be the same in a couple years down the road.
Right, and it's like, is
and you're
why
comparing that
doing
now?
so? Like for me, like the thing that, and I think that comes from being a people pleaser and trying to word this in a way that makes sense. But it's like, are you doing the thing because you want to do it or because you feel like you have to do it because other people are like giving you that input? Like, do you feel like you need to make this decision because your parents want you to or your significant other wants you to or societal pressure is making you feel like you have to? Or is it something like you actually want to do? Because like that's important too. It's like, do what makes you happy. Do what's going to get you to that point. At the end of the day, like you're the only person that's going to be able to get you there. And like, it doesn't really matter what other people think. But I think it's kind of on a tangent at this point. But
no, I know. But like kind of what we were talking about in terms of like the social media aspect of it, because I'm so chronically online, it's actually insane. But like you just see, I know there was a time where like my For You page was always like, quit your 9 to 5 and be an influencer and go and be a content creator. And it's like, you see everyone living this life that you want or doing that job, because everyone's dream job is obviously to work for themselves. Like that's always the end goal. But then you get like, you get down this rabbit hole of social media where everyone has like this luxury life. And then you're seeking something because they're showing it in such a luxurious way. But is it really like what you want? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you can get lost in that too, because sometimes I am like, when it comes to like body image or like diet culture and stuff, like you see people doing things and you're like, oh, like that looks like they look really good or that's working for them. Like, well, maybe I should do it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to do it.
Right.
And that's so, I don't want to say toxic, but it's real. Like that happens even to the best of us. Like even us who know what we're talking about, we know what is healthy, right? As personal trainers, we know what is unhealthy and healthy, but you'll still like even second guess yourself. You'll look at that diet and be like, oh, but maybe I need to do it because she's doing it. And again, that's where you gotta break that cycle of like comparing and wanting everything that you see on social media, because just because it looks like everyone wants that life or wants that body or wants to try that diet doesn't mean you want to or should have to.
Yeah.
And that's huge and something and that's the new thing I'm trying to like get out of currently. It's like doing what everyone else is doing because it looks like it's working for them or they like it, but like I know I don't.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't do it.
Like, yeah, it's like, why are you doing it then?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like the social media or like the societal pressure. I don't know. But I find that's like huge too. Just like career-wise, body-wise, like all of it. Like you just look at what someone else is doing and it looks great, luxurious, and maybe something you want, but it's not actually what you want. So I don't know. That's like a huge thing for me.
I do like really bad with that. I've said this before and it's like Gina doesn't do this, which like bless her. But like I can't go on like Instagram or like really any social media and like stalk people that like have their life together and like have like the perfect like life and they have like the perfect home and like all this stuff, because then I start feeling like shit about myself.
Yeah.
And this is like where like I am really bad at comparing, because for me I feel like my worst like qualities are like comparing like my success to other people. Like that's my horrible tendency, quality, whatever. And it's like for me it's more of like, oh, like this person has their dream job, or like this person has their like dream home, or like this person just got engaged, or like whatever it is. Like it could literally be anything. But it's like then I start thinking about like my life and I'm like, oh, like I'm not at that point yet. Like am I behind, or like am I not doing something right, or like am I not where I'm supposed to be? And so that's like what I've been focusing on a lot this year, is like reassessing. And like my younger me would have freaked out if you would have showed me a glimpse into year 23, because I'd have been like, oh my God, like what are you gonna do? Like so many changes, and like that freaks me out. So I've learned, like I've had to learn how to just like be calm in the midst of chaos this year. And it's really hard to do, because when you're 20, in your mid 20s, I feel like is when people start to like level out. But it's like I always remind myself that like everyone's like in their own race, like on their own path. And like me comparing myself to the person next to me isn't going to get me any further. It's actually going to like hold me back. And like that's my toxic trait, is like doing that. And so when it comes to social media, it's like really hard, because I see girls that are like 24, 25 and they have it all together. Have it all together, quote unquote. Yeah, we don't actually know, but like from what it looks like, they have it all together. And it's like, well, I'm not at that point. Like, why? You know what I mean? And it's like, but like I've had to tell myself and like do a lot of like, I don't know, just like inner like assessing. Reflection. Yeah, like of just being like, okay, like you're not there yet, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah, like just changing your mindset like that way. Like just you're not there yet. So you're gonna get there.
Exactly. And everyone's like clocks are different. Like there's not like one way to live life. And I think like my life has been like the way that I had it planned for myself in high school is not even close. It's like literally not even resembles where I am right now. And so like I've had to really step back and be like, Kylie, like, you know, you'll get there. Also, like your journey looks different from the next person's, and like sometimes it doesn't happen for people until they're 30 something or like 50. Like literally nobody is in the same race. And that's like where my toxic.
And I saw someone say, like, it was an older person, which I always love watching those videos of older people talking about like wisdom, life, and like going back in the years, and they're like, you are like, again, you don't want to regret anything in life, so you never want to be 50 and think, oh my God, I wish like my 20-year-old self wasn't hiding like her body because she was so ashamed of it. You know, I don't want to look back and be like, my 20-year-old self like was in a position with her relationship because she thought she had to be in that relationship because it was what society or what she thought was what she had to do. Like, you know, those kind of things you want to think about. And that helps a lot with like not comparing and not beating yourself up in the moment that you're in, because you don't want to get to that point where you regret looking back. You don't want to regret anything. And I think you're doing your life, your current self, your current family, your current friends a disservice by not just loving and living in the moment that you're in. Like truly, I think you aren't giving your full effort to your current life because you're so consumed by your future life. And there's no point to do that, because you could be so much happier just putting all of your effort and time and love into right now. And then like that will just kind of, you know, domino effect into the future.
But I think it goes the opposite direction too. Like if you spend so much time like dwelling on the past, like and going backwards in time, I think then you miss the beauty of where you are right now. And each season of life is so beautiful in its own ways. And like one thing that I really like to think about that for some reason has like stayed with me a lot, because I've been like, I feel like I've been dealing with that like mental space since high school, really, or like since college.
For sure.
But it's like telling yourself that you're like previous versions of yourself dreamed of being where you are right now. And it helps to like recenter yourself in like your current reality, because I think like I do this a lot more in the future, not the past, because I don't know, I don't know why I do that, honestly. I just do. But it's like, if you look back in time too, and like you just dwell on like what was, like you're gonna miss what is, and like so much is beautiful around you. Just take like 5 minutes to like think about your day and like journal, or you know, whatever you find like spiritually or whatever. Like there's a lot of things you can do to like recenter yourself, but it does help to just be in the moment, because that's something I've literally always struggled with. And I think comparing yourself to previous versions of yourself is such a real thing that we don't think about.
I do it more than people.
Yeah.
I compare myself to myself.
Yeah. Which I think is a good quality in some ways, because it helps keep pushing you forward, but not to the point where you're like missing what's around you right now.
Yeah, you can use it in like a positive way, like how far I've come.
Right.
Like going back in time, be like, oh my God, I was here a year ago. Look where I got. But if you, like me, do it in a negative way sometimes, try to get out of that. But I also do it sometimes to like break that barrier, because I'm like, I need to look at the old me and have those conversations, be like, oh my God, like I'm comparing my body from like my 23-year-old self to my 18-year-old self. But like, also, what the hell was I doing when I was 18? Like, I was doing nothing. I had no stress. Like,
exactly.
So having these conversations, like, sounds so silly to do. You're like, oh my God, Gina, do you actually like talk through these things in your head? I'm like, I actually do, because it helps me, because I could just simply keep comparing and putting photos side by side and cry and be so upset that I gained all this weight. But I'm like, girlfriend, you were 18. You had nothing going on. Life was so easy, no stress. I was 18. Like, come on, I'm growing up. You know, those are things you just have to talk through with yourself. And that's what we talked about before, is like getting comfortable with talking to yourself, not actually like talking out loud. I mean, if that's what you're into.
I love doing
Sometimes I do that.
I literally love doing that. So
you know, if that's your thing, like do it. But you don't actually have to talk out loud. Just like sit in freaking silence, guys, and like think. It doesn't have to be negative thinking. It could be growth. And like, just, I don't know, it's important. I truly believe in that. It truly helps me when I am in my lows, you know? So that's like my biggest tip. I was going to ask you what your tip is for like, I guess you kind of said it, like journaling, but like when you're going through like emotional downs or like heavy comparisons, what do you do in that moment to get you out of it?
It depends on like what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think my biggest thing is like having a good support system that, because I don't know, everyone falls into like toxic, you know, thought process. Like sometimes mine are so like,
same.
I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes like I get into a really dark place with myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, all these like false thoughts start coming into my head. And what really helps me is like having close people around me to like recenter me sometimes when I struggle to do it myself. And like just talking and not like internalizing it so much, because that's something like I've struggled with my whole life, and Gina knows that. She can attest to it. She hates it so much, but I have a really hard time sometimes talking about my feelings to people. I eventually do it, but in the moment it's like really hard. And so like I have to like almost force myself to be like, hey, I need help. Like just admit like I need help. Like I'm really not feeling good lately. Like, and then I talk through it, and it's like almost always if you have the right people around you, they can talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Or at least give you things that, you know, like positive reinforcement kind of things. So that really helps me, is like talking about it with my people. But like, I guess another thing that I like to do is like just get off of my phone, because that's where we store all of our old photos, like future events, like, and just be with yourself for a second and like get off of, I don't know. It really just depends on like what specifically it is.
Something I wish I could do was like just people who take like social media breaks. I envy, because I'm like,
I can't do that.
I wish so badly I could just shut off for the weekend, but like I have FOMO with social media. I'm like, I want to see everything. I want, like, it's so bad, but that's how, you know, I probably should do it. But that is something I know people do, is just delete the app for the weekend or something and take like a social media break, because a lot of our negativity stems from social media, because we're just looking at people's lives all the time.
Yeah.
And it's constant comparison. So I think that helps. It's like a social media break.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, sometimes, like, going back to what do I do? It's like I always think about, okay, I almost hype myself up in a weird way because it's like you're doing the things, like, you were put on this earth to do a lot more than, like, maybe you have accomplished already. Like, if you're somebody that hasn't quite, like, hit your goals yet, or like you have places you want to go with your career but you haven't made it there yet, it's like just trusting that you were created to get to that point and eventually you will get there. And sometimes, like, being patience is not my virtue. Like, I am the most impatient person on planet Earth. So I am practicing. That's one thing I'm practicing, is being more patient with myself and also with circumstances I can't control. Because I think a lot of times, like, you try and focus on, like, controlling the uncontrollables, and that gets you literally nowhere. And I do that. I've done that my whole life, and it's literally the worst thing.
I think I say that phrase like 1,000 times a week, is control the controllables.
Yeah, because it's so true, though, because you're setting yourself up for failure if you try and control things you can't control, and then you're focusing on the wrong things.
Yep.
And you've made no progress. Because I used to do that all the time. Like, oh my God, especially in college, like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So it's just a constant work in progress, but identify the things that are holding you back first.
I think setting goals, I know we mentioned that in this episode, but like I think that also is helpful, like just setting little goals, never huge goals, because that will, again, that's like looking forward too much. So like setting small goals that you can like work towards, and that can give you like the little positive reinforcements throughout the entire process, whether it's finding the career, getting your dream body, whatever it may look like. So I think goal setting helps a lot, just keeping you on track and keeping you also like in current time, because the bigger the goals, that's like too and future forward. So like staying within your present and those small goals will definitely help a ton.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of like way of going about it. But like I know I've said it a million times, just talk to yourself, talk to people. I am a yapper, so everyone's gonna know my shit like the second it happens. Like I just want to let out everything. That's what Kylie and I are very different on. Like, you're going to see it on my face. You're going to know it. I have to say it or it's going to eat me alive. Like, I need to get it out of here right away or I will never move on. But that's just who you are. You got to figure out who you are as a person, too, and how you can kind of work through it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't have any, like, that's, like, the biggest tips that I have with, like, overcoming comparison. Right?
Yeah. It's so, like, unique to each person, which is, like, it's hard to give advice. Like, I'm struggling right now. I'm like, what do I do? Like,
well, because, like, we're working on it as we speak.
Yeah.
Like, every day.
I do just want to say, though, that it's, like, very normal to feel that way. I think sometimes it can feel especially isolating when everyone around you seems to have their shit together and maybe you don't. So I just want to put a little PSA out for anyone that might be feeling like that it's completely normal. And, like, I want to, like, almost encourage to just, like, one of my favorite things that I've heard, like, recently this year is, like, let it hurt, then let it go. Like, literally feel your feelings, because I think it's important to acknowledge them and, like, feel them and, like, then associate a feeling with it. So, like, oh, I feel sad, but this feeling is temporary. It's not permanent. And then discover, like, what it is that's making you upset. And let that, like, sink in and, like, internalize that for a night or a couple hours or a couple minutes, like, whatever it is. Like, I personally hold on to things a little longer than
Yeah. Well, I think, too, like, I've been hearing this phrase a lot, but, like, especially with the women that are heavy in their masculine energy. Because I feel like you have some masculine energy, too, that you have been, over the past year, have gone out of.
Like what?
Like, more like, you're focusing more on, like, your mindset and, like, slowing down and like letting life kind of take control, and that's like tapping into like your feminine energy, because when you're in your masculine energy, they say, is like you want to be like leader alpha, like be like going 24/7, and that's just like sometimes a defense mechanism. I don't know, when you want to take control of everything, but like that is something I see people talk about a lot, because people, or women especially, who just like don't take the time to worry about themselves. Maybe they're always worrying about other people. It's like you deserve to like take time for you and like actually, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. And I think like you have tapped into that so much more this past year.
I've been doing a little bit better because, well, I would say like really since I left Tulane.
But yeah, do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just had a conversation actually with a client this morning. She was like, oh, like, I'm finally coming in like for, help because I like bend over backwards for everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'm like, when was the last time you took a second for yourself? And she was like,
yeah, well, that, like, I think that just goes hand in hand because, like, I don't know, like the comparison confidence thing, it's like, take care of you.
right.
And sometimes you don't do that.
I know. And oh my God.
It's so important.
That just makes me want to cry so much because the amount of times like either myself or like you, I mean, specifically just because I
Yeah,
don't
right.
say that well, but it's like the amount of times that we have gone through things.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like where I would be right now if I like didn't take a second to myself.
I know.
You know what I mean? Whether that's like working out, whether that is spending quality time with your family or friends or your significant other or like romanticizing your life or like whatever it is that pulls you out of those ruts. Like I can't even.
Yeah, well, I know. That's why when people ask me like what my why is for like starting my fitness journey or like working out, it's literally my time. Like that's the one thing I do for me. Like I don't do that with my partner. I don't even work out with you. I don't work out with people. It's literally my time for me and it's so sacred. Like I can't imagine my life without it, which sounds so freaking silly, but it's true. Like if I didn't have that, I would be spiraling because I would be like, what am I doing for myself?
Right. Like finding an outlet that makes sense for you.
Yeah.
Because I know not everyone's going to resonate with like the physical exercise, which is like,
it could be anything. Yeah.
right. But if it's like, if your morning, you wake up in the morning, like I know a lot of moms do this, like they have kids, whatever, is like you wake up a little bit earlier in the day to have your coffee, your morning coffee, no kids running around.
Yeah.
But that's your time to do whatever you want with it. Like reflect on your day. Like, whatever it is, meditate in the morning. Like there's so many different things you can do throughout the day, but it's like designate a little bit of time for yourself. So just to hear your own thoughts. Cause I think the loudness of life sometimes like gets so crowded up in your head and you're like, when you're finally alone with your thoughts, it's a scary place because you're going to bed at night and it's silent. You're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, we've all been there where you have so much going on up here that you avoid those moments where you're just alone with your thoughts. But that's when like the growth happens. That's when like self-discovery happens and like you really can feel yourself and hear yourself talk.
I feel like crying right now.
I know it's like it's a hard thing.
Like I actually
it's that's why I say like it's a heavy conversation to have, but it's so important because.
But that's why I'm proud of us because we do that at such a young age.
Yeah,
and I hope to God that we continue.
Me too.
To do that for the rest of our lives because again we don't really have a lot of responsibilities right now. So like we have the time to like focus on us and do things for us. But like moms out there. I know anyone like who has to take care of someone else, like it is so, I mean, I think of like, whatever, whoever you have in your life that might be taking care of someone else, like just maybe go to them and tell them to work on, like try something that's just for them for a day, an hour, a week, like whatever.
Because I think that's why our job as trainers is so important because we have the ability to like turn someone's hectic, crazy life into like really pushing that like self improvement in their day because I can't even tell you the amount of like, and even like before, like the amount of clients that'll come to you and be like, I don't have time for this. Like, or they'll turn training down because they're like, I don't have time for this. Like, I physically do not have time for it. And it's like our job to stress the importance of finding that balance because if not, like, I mean, we all know what that feels like to not have it. And so like, that's like why I love our field industry because it's like you can truly have the ability to make such a difference in somebody's life and it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. It's like most people don't realize like all you really need is like 30 minutes. Yeah. And if you can take those 30 minutes like 6 times a day for 5 minutes, like everyone has 5 minutes in their day, right? Like that's what people don't realize. Like I've worked, I don't know, have you ever done like a time log of your day and like how you spend your day? Like that's eye-opening because it's like I have so much time than I think.
I know. I just did the 5-minute theory with my clients and we did a 5-minute like nutrition takeaway, 5-minute fitness takeaway, and it's like you do have those 5 minutes to do something extra. Stretch for 5 minutes, cut your vegetables for 5 minutes. Like it's so important.
Yep. And like the other thing with that is too is like selling like I don't even know what the right word would be, but like just basically stressing the importance of like not necessarily exercise for everybody, but like your mental health and physical health and like really pushing like why that's important. It's like you could invest that time in yourself like right now and prevent like XYZ from happening in the future. or you could like neglect it right now and then deal with the repercussions like when you're older.
Right,
And
like we were talking about the regret of things too.
exactly.
Mhm.
And whether that's like you want to get into, exercise, or you want to fix your diet up, or you want to get into journaling and you feel you're somebody that struggles with like almost like mental like overcrowdedness, like stuff like that. It's like there's small fixes that you can make that don't take that much time. But I think like for some reason, like people think it has to take so long, and it's
I
like
know.
really not. Like,
Yep. Well, like you said, sometimes the most like simple things are so complex. Like they're so hard to do.
I know.
And that's why just practicing, like our life is practice. Like we're all doing this for the first time. Everyone is doing life for the first time. We don't know. So just like look at your life as like a work in progress, like a beautiful work in progress. And it helps so much just getting you through the lows, the highs, like everything. And you'll be able to continue to trust the process and love it throughout the entire journey.
Like, I know we said this before on an episode, I feel like, but like, again, just stressing, like, you are the best project you'll ever work on.
Yeah, it's so cute.
You owe, like, you deserve what you give other people, like, whatever that is. Because I know a lot of times people are, like, very selfless, and they put so much energy into their significant other, or they have kids, like, everybody but themselves. And it's like, I just want everyone to, like, I don't know, just value yourself as much as you give to others, because like you deserve it. And if you were looking for a sign to prioritize yourself, let this be it. Because like I want to hug all those people out there, because it makes me so upset. And like when clients come in the door with that same thing, I'm just like, it just makes me want to cry, because I'm like, you deserve everything and more. And that's why I love doing what we do, because we can transform people's lives so easily.
In the most simplest way sometimes too.
Literally, it's such a quick, some of the times it's not, but like sometimes it's such a quick fix. And it's like,
it's a little
they just needed to hear like one or two things. And now they're good. Like
sometimes just needed someone there. It's not even that they need like the help or whatever. Like they just need somebody that also sees what they're trying to see in themselves.
I know. Oh my God. I just love it so much. Like,
I know, it really is the best field. It has its pros and cons, of course, like any other field. But it truly is just the best. Like, we want everyone, like, that's all we crave, is for everyone to, like, be able to, like, treat themselves in the way of, like, working on them and, like, taking care of them. Like, that's treating yourself.
Right. Like, treating yourself how you would treat somebody else.
Yeah. Right.
Like, if you would go the extra mile for somebody else, like,
do it for you.
You should do it for yourself too.
Oh my gosh. I know that kind of went into like the confidence thing, but that all goes hand in hand.
It really does.
Like
caring and confidence goes hand in hand, in my opinion.
Confidence, like when you start, but as you can tell here in this conversation, like confidence is such a wide spectrum. Like comparison is so many things. So just know like everyone's going through something.
Literally. Even the people that look like they have their shit together, like, you know how many times, like, people, because I feel like, Gina, you even told me, like, oh my gosh, you seem so confident. Like, people come up to me, like, oh, like, you give, like, you're very confident. And it's like, I'm not. Like, maybe you would never know that.
Right.
But I'm not, like, as confident as I come off. Like, and I don't know why people think that, actually.
All right.
But, like, truly, like, I've gotten that before. I'm like, actually, like, you know, I'm not as confident as you might think. And so just a reminder that just because someone looks confident doesn't mean they actually are. And like everybody is like in their own boat of like trying to figure it the fuck out. Like we look at ourselves,
our podcast, that's what we're doing here, is trying to figure it out.
Like everything. And yeah.
So you're on social media, just remember, like not everything's fake, but like even like we all do what we post, we put filters, we post what we want people to see. Like just keep that in mind. Like it's not everything it seems ever. Okay. Because that's the biggest thing, especially because social media is like everything right now. So that's huge. But I think that was like a good way to kind of wrap it up. I don't know. Do you have any like last words on this?
Not really. I mean, I just feel like remind yourself like that life is a journey, and there's no like end destination. It's just doing your best every day, and sometimes that looks different every single day. Like, and it's gonna change, you know, like but really just like listen to yourself and like do what makes you happy at the end of the day. I mean, I know we literally say this probably once an episode, but it's like that important. Like, do what makes you happy. And I think confidence and comparison will go hand in hand with that. If you just do what makes you happy, you'll notice things like improving in your life that maybe you never thought would change, or things that have been bothering you for a while. Like, just do it. And like, I don't know, you'll be surprised at like what happens in your life that you have, like, you know, things that just fall into place when you do that. So that's like my little 2 cents. I don't know. I don't have anything else. I feel like
my last sentence is really just you deserve to work on you.
Yeah.
You deserve to put time into you. That's all you need to hear today. Please
let that be what you take away from this, because truly it's so important, and you only get one life, you only get one body.
Yeah.
Do your best to make it the best that you can possibly make it, and love yourself through every phase.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ugh. I think I'm gonna listen to this episode 100 times. I actually almost cried during it. So this was needed for me, and hopefully not for you guys, but it's just a good reminder for everyone. So I feel lighter.
We love that. We love that. We love a little good therapy session.
That literally was like a therapy session.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Okay, well, I'm good now. So that's all from me.
That's all from me too. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope you maybe, like Gina said, hopefully you didn't have to, like,
hopefully you're not going through anything.
Yeah, but like maybe you heard something that like stands out. I don't know. We just want to be big sisters or just little sisters to people that need it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.